welcome everybody. Welcome everybody here at the Netherlands Pavilion at the Dubai World Expo. Welcome everybody at home or maybe at office in the Netherlands or somewhere in the world behind LinkedIn, because we're live streamed today. Today we're going to show you, we have a really nice show about sustainability, circularity within sports. And we have some international guests who are really front runners within sports and sustainability. And of course, I will introduce you, but I will do that later to you. My name is Paul van der Kolk, and today I will be the host of this show. And first of all, I would like to introduce Sports Innovator to you. My first guest is Merit Cloquet from Sports Innovator in the Netherlands. And let's have a chat with Merit. So Merit, welcome here at the Netherlands Pavilion.
Thank you, thank you.
So what's your first impression of this beautiful expo?
Well, it's overwhelming and with a great atmosphere over here. Yes.
Yeah, you've been here now for a few days, I think. What's the best pavilion you?
Yeah, well, actually, there were almost about 200 pavilions, and I've only seen 2. This one, the Netherlands, it's magic, and I've seen the Australian pavilion. Okay. It's a recommendation. You should go there.
And we have an Australian guest today, so later on we will hear more about the vision of Australia on that.
Yes.
Hey Merit, your function is Sports Innovation Officer at Sports Innovator, but before that, what's Sports Innovator?
Yeah, Sport Innovator is the leading sports innovation network of the Netherlands. And we want to maximize the impact of sport innovations. It's a program and it's funded by the Ministry of Health, Welfare and Sport. And our main goal, we want to aim to increase innovations in sport, and we want to contribute to a more vital society. And we have different things we do. And the outcome is multiple. It can be innovations that help us to win gold medals at the Olympics. It can be innovations in a broader range of sports for all people to have their sport facilities, or even to society to exercise more. I think we will show some innovations later on in this show. And what I want to tell you about Sport Innovators is what we do is we want to connect the government, the sports, science, and business community. And that's a formula that will work out. And our approach of those collaboration, I think I can better show you with a movie.
Oh,
let's watch together.
Let's watch it together.
Dan zou u gewoon weer kunnen fietsen.
Goh, kan dat echt?
Als het voor mij werkt, waarom dan niet voor u?
In Nederland werkt iedereen koortsachtig samen. Wetenschap, overheid, bedrijfsleven, sporters. We slaan de handen ineen. Samen gaan we voor goud.
Ready?
Yes.
Zijn jullie klaar?
Klaar? Zeker.
Nederland is een land van sportgekken. Fans, kampioenen, we doen altijd mee voor de prijzen. En we weten, sport is meer dan winnen. Succesverhalen in de sport inspireren en verbinden. De nieuwste snufjes in de sport kunnen win-win betekenen. Innovatie vanuit de sport tackelt ook maatschappelijke problemen. Zo profiteert iedereen mee. Door het omarmen van de nieuwste technologische ontwikkelingen, door schaalbare concepten te herkennen en door bijzondere samenwerkingen te stimuleren tussen wetenschappers, bedrijfsleven, overheid, maatschappelijke organisaties en sporters, rijzen er nieuwe succesverhalen aan de horizon.
En?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes!
I'm sure.
Yes!
Yes! Thank you for coming in TU Delft. This is a self-stable bicycle
Je zult voortaan nooit meer uw balans verliezen.
Ja, ik durf weer te fietsen. Oh, het is geweldig.
Ja toch? Zo winnen we allemaal.
Sportinnovatie zet ons in beweging. Nederland innoveert. Iedereen doet mee. Zo winnen we allemaal.
Nou, ik moet het op de Olympische Spelen nog laten zien.
En het werd win-win. Tokio 2021 werden voor Nederland de meest succesvolle Olympische Spelen in de sportgeschiedenis. Mede dankzij het gouden baanwielrenteam. Sportinnovator feliciteert alle deelnemers en winnaars. Op naar nieuwe successen.
So, that's a quite interesting movie. And what's the relationship between sports innovator and the golden medals at the Olympics? Is there a relationship?
There's a small relation. Innovation is just a small part of the success, and we had a small part in it all. The best way to explain is we developed a formula, a sports innovation formula. I already told you, we have the government, the business, the sports, and knowledge or science. We bring them together to create an innovation. In a consortium, they will work together. We saw the example in the movie. I think this innovation is quite iconic, the track bike. And it's a collaboration with the TU Delft, the Sports Engineering Institute, with companies from Koga, the bicycles, and ActiFlow, an aerodynamic specialist, and of course the sports, the athletes, and the Royal Dutch Cycling Union. They all worked together a few years ago, and as a sport innovator, we just helped them in the beginning to come together and make a start, like a Kickstarter. Co-creation is the key to success, and I think we saw that in the movie. And there was another message in the movie. Maybe you saw it. We won medals this summer, but the innovation we saw has a spin-off as well. You see the old lady in the movie.
I saw the old lady in the movie.
Well, the technology of the theory of the stabilization in the bike of the athlete, the same theory has been developed now for another bike. And you see all that in a movie. So I think that's a spin-off when the sportive impact will come to society as well.
So that's the aim of Sports Innovator. It starts in the top, and then later on it will be to...
Yeah, that's one route to go, yes.
Oh, really nice.
Yes.
Hey, and thank you so much. But how many of these kinds of projects are there in the Netherlands? Is it just a few companies and governmental and sports working together, or is it all over the Netherlands?
Of course, it's a national effort, and just one player in the field is our organization. You see here the national ecosystem. These are our certified partners. It's a national network of the Sport Innovator Centers, we call them, and these centers are field labs, where the quadruple helix, the formula, comes together. And every center has its own expertise. For example, swimming, or nutrition, or urban sports. And this leads to the development of new innovations that really contribute to professional sport, to participation in sport, or an active lifestyle. And these centers all work together, and I think that's quite a unique network in the world. And that's the physical ecosystem. And we had another one, that's a digital infrastructure. And we call that Sport Data Valley. And that's a national data platform for sports and exercise as well. And it aggregates all sorts of sports and exercise data and offers analytical tools. And those tools are based on data mining and AI. This platform is unique as well, I think, in the world, and has a wide range of target groups, from coaches to athletes, from scientists to businesses and physiotherapists, you name it, and they can use it.
Oh, well, that's interesting, but now a non-scripted question for our international viewers. Maybe we can go back to the slide of the Netherlands with all the field labs and I'm not sure if, yeah, there it is. So how many kilometers? Is it from the north, from the Netherlands to the south, and from the east to the west? Because I think it's almost unbelievable that so many of these hotspots are there in the Netherlands. Can you tell me something about it?
Yeah, I think from north to south it's about 250, 300 kilometers. So you can go from north by south within 3 hours by car. And from west till east it's even less, it's 200 kilometers. So yeah, well, it's quite easy to meet each other. And even in lockdown, the digital way to meet each other is very helpful as well.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for our international viewers, because I heard that like 100 people online at this moment, so we're really proud to have everyone also behind the computer. Hey, and Merit, is there an international ambition for Sports Innovator? We're here at the World Expo, but why is that? And what are you sure?
Yes, of course we have an ambition. This is an International Knowledge Week at the Expo. And that's the reason we are here with the Dutch Sports Week. And we are aiming to share insights, to show innovations, and to learn from other initiatives. And we're just a small country within the EU, so we're eager to learn from what's going on around us in the world. And we're eager to meet other people over here. And I think that's very inspiring. We've met the Dubai Sports Council, for example, and it's very impressive what they are achieving at this time. It's very fast growing. The sports participation is growing nearby Dubai, and the sports venues are growing very quickly. We want to learn from them, and they want to learn from us. For example, our bicycles, how we use them.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Of course, bicycles again. Hey, and so, but I have just one more question. Because a month ago it was the climate summit in Glasgow. Can you tell me a little bit more about the connection between sports and sustainability, circularity? How did you get it on the agenda?
Yes. Well, let me give some figures from the Netherlands. We have over 10,000 sport facilities, 22,000 sport clubs, and millions of active participants. And the sports sector in the Netherlands are therefore an important factor in making the Netherlands a more sustainable country. And to this end, it has committed itself to a national climate agreement and drawn up its own roadmap for sustainable sport, with particular focusing on reduction of CO2 and circularity and environmentally friendly grounds management. In my opinion, innovation has a crucial role to play here.
Interesting. And I think our guest later on in the show will talk more about these kinds of innovations. I think now I have to switch.
I have an example if you want.
You have an example? Please tell me.
Yeah, okay. Well, the national roadmap for sustainable sports has helped enormously to put the subject on the agendas, I noticed. And the sector has the will to become more sustainable, but it's still exploring what's possible. A simple example, I think we all know, is about the halogen lamps lighting the fields. And they are all being replaced all over the world by LED lights. That has a direct saving on the energy bills, and it's better for the environment.
Because money is always an issue for these amateur clubs.
Yes, it cuts your costs as well, and it's a win-win, I think. That's a simple one. I have more, but I don't know if I have time for more.
I think it's almost time to introduce our guests.
Okay.
But because I think there are the best examples of really nice, sustainable and circular innovations. But before that, I forgot something to say in my introduction. Because if there are any questions here in this studio or maybe at home behind the computer, you can ask them by LinkedIn or you can ask them by the Dutch Dubai website. And there is also Jacqueline is in the room, and she will try to bring the questions here to the stage. So Merit, we wanted to speed up a little bit because our guests are waiting. And before we go to our guests, I would like to show you a little appetizer movie about our first guest to introduce. So let's watch that movie and see you in 30 seconds.
Wij mensen met onze dieren halen meer water van en uit die aarde weg dan dat er in regen opvalt. Daarom zakken grondwaterniveaus en vallen meren droog. Dat is in Nederland al een beetje het geval, er wordt steeds meer, maar in de rest van de wereld, veel landen, is dat veel meer het geval. Wat doen wij met Hydraloop, is dat we ervoor zorgen dat je water 2 keer kunt gebruiken. En daarmee kun je je waterverbruik met 45% verminderen.
So, thank you, dear guest. Nice that you made it to the Dutch pavilion.
Great.
Welcome,
yeah.
Frank.
Yeah.
Frank. So, Frank, you want to use water twice?
Of course,
Of course.
of course. Let's face it, water is becoming very, very scarce. Also, today the hydrologic system already produces not sufficient water for the whole world population, and the world population will further grow, and there is a lot of urbanization going on. Look out here.
Yeah.
Did you watch out of your hotel this morning?
Well, I'm located at the other side, but I saw the giant plant.
That's the giant plant. That's all about desalination.
Yeah.
And of course, you can do that. It costs a lot of energy, it costs a lot of gas. And let's face it, in the Western world, everybody flushes toilets with fresh drinking water.
Yeah.
And that's scarce.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
If you think about this, probably in 20 years from now, people will say, how could they ever do it?
Yeah. And
that's
it all started in
that's
the
why
Netherlands.
we invented something that can collect the lightly contaminated water,
Ah, interesting.
clean it, and then you can use it for flushing of toilets, washing machines, irrigation.
And there is an example here at the pavilion, eh? So if the
Yeah.
people in the studio would like to watch it, it's over there at the other side.
Yeah. This is a very comfort.
Okay, you can. You're allowed to stand up. It doesn't really matter. Speak to you later.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And here's my international guest from Australia, Jessica Smith. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
And Jessica, yeah, we just want to hear from you what's happening here in the Gulf region. And we just heard from Frank about the plantation. But you're also really close connection, of course, with Australia still, eh? Former Paralympic sporter, now living here in the Gulf region. So what do you see on what's happening here on sustainability and circularity? Is it getting better?
Yeah, well, first, thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this very thought-provoking discussion. For those who may not know me, my name is Jessica Smith, and I am a former Australian Paralympic swimmer. I've lived in Dubai now for almost 3 years, and as you said, starting to understand the connection here with the Dubai Sports Council and the fact that they're really wanting to showcase that they are a sporting nation, and the fact that they have the infrastructure and the resources to perhaps make that happen a lot quicker than other nations have, but to be able to learn from places like Australia and the Netherlands. So certainly it's great to be able to come into a space like this as a former athlete and to see where they are wanting to progress and how we can help them to get there. And I think Australia and the Netherlands, you know, we have so many similarities when it comes to sport. You're global leaders and innovators in the industry, and I think Expo offers us an incredible platform to showcase the possible opportunities for synergy, not just between our two nations, but countries like the UAE as well. So I think it's a very exciting time because there's so much that the future has in store. And if we can all learn from each other, then it's going to break down a lot of barriers that we have faced in that design and infrastructure in every phase of the process when it comes to sport and innovation.
That's why we're here for it, to learn from each other with all the pavilions and all the examples from all over the world. It's really brilliant to come over here. I think it's open till March, so to everyone, please come over and watch it. Hey, but my next guest has something to do with wheat and the Netherlands. And that's a really nice combination, but Job, it's not about the wheat I was talking about. Maybe we first show a little teaser, and then we know what we're talking about.
Ja, thanks. Ja. Wij mensen...
Enkele jaren terug was er een pilot hier in de buurt om chemievrije sportvelden te gaan beheren. Dan stuurde ik mensen rond met een schop, een steekschop om onkruiden te gaan doorsteken. En vroeger had ik daar zelf een ontzettende hekel aan om dat soort werkzaamheden uit te voeren. Dus ik dacht, ja, daar gaan we een machine voor bedenken die op innovatieve wijze onkruiden kan steken.
So Job, just one question. I've been here around. Is there enough grass? Is there enough grass in Dubai to have a good business?
Yeah, thanks for having us here from Grootgroene. This is my first time here in Dubai, so I only know this place from the skyscrapers and of course Palm Island. But I believe there are some beautiful soccer stadiums as well with natural grass. It's also a lot of warmer here. I like that, but I wonder how well wheat will grow here. We from Grootgroene, our team, are really looking forward to present our innovation here. And thanks for inviting us here. And we're gonna make an unforgettable week at Expo. So.
It sure is. And one question, because the name of the company is Grootgroener, but the name of the innovation is Weed Away. Yeah?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
okay.
That's the machine we built. Yeah.
So I'll come back to you later. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hey Arnoud, welcome to the show. It's the third company here at the table, and some people call you the professor in artificial turf, but I'm not sure if that's right.
I think I know something, but there's plenty of people out there who know a lot more.
Okay, well, I think there's also a small advertising movie about your company and about your innovation. Let's see the movie of Grass to Grass.
Ja, Grass to Grass is een ontwikkeling die eigenlijk ingaat op de end-of-life problematiek van kunstgras. 3 jaar geleden heeft de Nederlandse overheid aangegeven dat ze dat willen oplossen. En wij zijn eigenlijk buiten de bestaande grenzen gaan denken, een ander materiaal geïntroduceerd in de wereld van kunstgras en die heet polyester.
So thank you, really nice teaser. We'll come back to you later. And Merit is she moved from there to this side of the table. She will be the sidekick. So Merit, if there are any questions in your head, just
I will.
Just interfere. Hey, Jessica, we saw 3 appetizer movings. Hockey is also a sport which is in the Netherlands. It's Australia really famous for. Are they still playing hockey on just regular turf, or what's happening over there?
Well, I mean, I played hockey growing up and at high school, but I was ended up in the goalkeeping situation, and it just wasn't a safe environment for me. So I decided, for me, that swimming was the way to go. So that's my expertise and that's my background. But I do know some of the Australian female hockey players, and I think that we, are very well known globally for the performances that our Australian athletes are able to set on the world stage. But in terms of my expertise in regards to sustainability, I suppose, and coming from the athlete side of things, it's something that I guess I was oblivious to, and it's a very shameful thing to say now looking back, but as a 19-year-old competing in Athens in 2004, it wasn't something that was a priority or at the forefront of our discussions. And certainly there was, in many situations, this idea that the more we consumed, it added to that elite status. And I think that was something that was prevalent among all athletes at the time. And sport and society often mirror one another. And so I think that it's just showcasing how far we have come and how far we still have to go. But from my perspective, it's about being able to now question and challenge decisions that I made in the past as an athlete and how I can contribute to that in the future, and have those discussions with other athletes, which is what is taking place now. Athletes are being invited to the discussion, and that is all part of that cyclic ecosystem as well, and making sure that we are part of those decisions that are being made.
You can be the peers, the athletes who peer to the rest of the world.
Absolutely.
To see how to do it. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, Job again. Job, welcome. We just saw this advertising, this movie of you and of your company, and it's deep learning behind the tractor. It sounds a bit strange, but we saw this beautiful movie in the fog and in the Netherlands. But what are you guys actually doing?
Yeah, I think our innovation is really high tech in the world of sport field management. We have developed a machine that recognizes weeds in the turf and can destroy them on a sustainable way without pesticides.
And that's because of new regulation coming up from Europe?
Yeah, there are some new regulations in the Netherlands. From 2025 there will be a total ban from the use of pesticides. So we developed with our team, the Weed Away. So I think we're gonna see a video from a CEO, André Tripp, and he will explain something more about the machine.
Okay, let's watch it.
Er is natuurlijk van alles aan de hand in de wereld over klimaat en klimaatdoelstellingen. Bijvoorbeeld met chemie terugdringen. Er komt natuurlijk wetgeving die zegt van dat er chemievrij sportveldbeheer moet gaan plaatsvinden. Of in ieder geval minimaal. Maar ook de maatschappelijke tolerantie om chemie te gebruiken op sportvelden. Met name bij gebruik bij kinderen. En dat wil men eigenlijk niet meer. Dus ja, ik dacht van daar moeten we wat voor gaan bedenken. Zodat ook mijn puberdochters bijvoorbeeld kunnen voetballen.
Met elkaar hebben wij gezegd van ja, wij willen in principe topaccommodaties hebben. En hoe krijg je dat? Ja, door ook samen wat te gaan ontwikkelen.
Nou, er is veel ontwikkeling in gaan zitten en er zijn ook wel 2 machines die zijn niet gelukt. En vervolgens hebben we nu denk ik een machine die er redelijk dichtbij komt. We kunnen ergens tussen de 50 en de 70% van bijvoorbeeld een paardenbloem, die kunnen we steken zodat die doodgaat.
Alle ontwikkelingen zijn zoiets van, nou, eerst zien en dan geloven. Hè? Dat is met heel veel zaken zo. Maar niettemin, wij zeggen altijd, ja, als je niet iets probeert en als je niet weet hoe het gaat, dan kom je nooit verder.
En die onkruiden die worden herkend door een camerasysteem. En van daaruit, met deep learning techniek, kun je dat in beeld brengen. En vanuit dat beeld kun je een relaisbeweging in actie zetten en dan kun je een stekenbeweging daar gaan maken. Nou ja, om ergens een begin te krijgen en om deep learning te krijgen, moet je veel foto's maken. Ja, er zijn duizenden foto's gemaakt bijvoorbeeld van een paardenbloem. En we zijn er ook achter gekomen dat de textuur constant verandert van zo'n paardenbloem het hele jaar door. Dus we hebben wekenlang, elke week lang, hebben we foto's gemaakt van bijvoorbeeld paardenbloemen, maar ook andere onkruidsoorten natuurlijk. Maar we hebben ons eerst gefocust op paardenbloemen en op de weegbree. Maar vanuit al die grote hoeveelheid foto's en livestreams inmiddels, kunnen we dus nu gewoon onkruid steken.
We hebben het zelf meegenomen in ons bestek. We zullen moeten kijken hoe de ontwikkelingen zijn. Maar we zijn er ook van overtuigd dat er over een jaar misschien wel toch weer wat aanpassingen nodig zijn. Maar daarvoor hebben we ook juist gezegd van nou, jij krijgt de tijd door een langer contact waardoor je ook je investering weer kunt terugverdienen.
Het zit er wel in van dat we ook wel eens een keer een tegenslagje hebben. En dat kan zijn bijvoorbeeld het weer of als er heel veel dauw bijvoorbeeld op een veld zit, ja, dan valt het allemaal nog niet mee. Ja, al gaande leren we daar heel veel van, maar wij zijn op de goede weg.
Nou ja, de wereld kan hiervan leren dat je in principe toch heel veel dingen kunt oplossen zonder dat je daar zware milieu-onvriendelijke middelen voor gebruikt. Hè? Of dat nou vergifsoorten zijn of andere zaken. Je kan toch nog wel met gewoon een beetje normaal gezond denken zeggen, ja, we kunnen ook zaken oplossen die mechanisch zijn of waar vroeger veel handwerk voor zitten. Dat is niet meer nodig, we kunnen het op een andere manier oplossen.
Well, Job, that's truly innovation, the Weeder way. Because I heard sometimes we had some problems, and we started again, we started all over. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work.
That's right.
And now you're here. It's almost there. It's 50 to 80%, I think, the results.
Yeah.
Hey, but what motivated your company to start this innovation project?
Yeah, I first like to introduce our company, Grootgroene. Yeah, we from Grootgroene are a total partner in design, realization and maintenance of public spaces, sport fields, gardens. We carry out these activities for local governments, provinces, water boards, companies. We work with a team of 50 employees from our beautiful location in the east of the Netherlands. Paul, you know it's beautiful there.
It's really beautiful.
So, let me see. With our organization, we are focused on communication and delivering good quality within our projects. In the year 2012, we started with maintaining the first fields. It was in the local government you saw in the video. Tubbergen it's called. And nowadays we are maintaining 10% of the totally 600 fields in the east and Overijssel. Yeah.
And how many fields are there in the Netherlands? Because we can make a calculation of what this will do worldwide. But let's start in the Netherlands for now.
Yeah, the number of sport fields, natural grass fields in the Netherlands are 6,400. In the past, on every field, they were using a few liters of pesticides a year. So to give you an idea, the total pollution will be 10,000 of liters. a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's a lot, yeah. So, and the need to stop pesticides is in line with this theme here, uniting water, energy and food. Pesticides sprayed on sport fields are polluting surface and also groundwater. On and around sport complexes.
But sometimes there are a lot of complaints about Europe, but this is a really good thing. That this is
it's
just
it's
a
good that Netherlands started here with this. So in the Netherlands, Europe, also Frank told us, but also worldwide, there is a shortage of clean water. And for that reason, it's really important to stop the use of pesticides now. Now, exercise is healthy, but I'm sure every parent, I think you also, you're worried when you realize that your children are playing on the playground with this sprays with pesticides. I think it's also for you. I don't know if you're.
Maybe we can ask Jessica. If this also pointed in Australia as a main issue in sports.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as we become more aware, and that saying, if you know better, you have to do better. And certainly as a parent, that's at the forefront of my mind when the kids are taking part in activities. And my children are 6, 4 and 2. So my daughter was involved in a lot of activities before we moved here to the UAE. And I think, again, as we progress in society and we start understanding the importance of climate change and environmental and sustainability, it impacts all those areas of our life. So yes, as a parent, it's reassuring to know that this is something that can, expand globally, because I think it's very, very important.
Yeah, it's so nice to have, I think, from all different kinds of perspectives here, 3 nice companies and of course Jessica here at the table. Hey Merit, is there a question left that you want to ask?
Yeah, I was wondering, Job, has it been noticed yet from other countries? Did they see your innovation yet? Because I think it's magic.
Yeah, that's the reason why we're here in Dubai. So first we were focused on the Netherlands, but I think there are a lot of opportunities also in the other countries around us, and also I think worldwide. Yeah.
Okay.
We're now completely non-scripted, but there is one question left, Job, and I want to ask you. But I thought already in the movie, your CEO was telling us that some things didn't work out, but then you start over again. But what kind of problems did you face during the process of innovation?
Yeah, it was the big problem we had was the recognition of the weeds in the field. So the weeds are green and also the grass is green. So it was we needed to see the structures and recognize the weeds in the grass field.
And now it's self-learning and it's getting better every day. Okay.
Yeah, so we work with a deep learning system to make it even better by working. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So,
Hey, and maybe because in the future field managers have to work with hopefully your machine. How do they help? How does this machine help them in doing their job right well?
I take the good question. Yeah, the most important reason is that there are no effective efficient solutions for removing weeds with a taproot at this moment.
That's what we saw in the teaser, just doing it by hand.
So you have dandelion and plantain, and it's really hard to remove them at this moment without pesticides. So we have invented the perfect solution, as you have seen on the video. Our machine, the Weedaway, is particularly focused at piecing weeds with a taproot, such as dandelion and plantain. And it's important when we work with chemical-free spot field management to keep a closed turf, so the weeds don't get a chance to grow. For this reason, we have ensured that the Weedaway takes damage to the turf. Yeah.
Okay. And I see all these Teslas driving around as robots and computers driving themselves. I see here this movie. I see still a traditional tractor. Sorry, it's the Dutch word.
It's a tractor.
Do you see future possibilities to do this in another way?
Yeah, autonomous machines are on the rise worldwide. Yeah, you called the Teslas, which are driving fully automatically on the streets, but also in sport fields. In the world of sport fields, we mow the fields fully on GPS automatically.
So that will be the next phase in innovation.
That will be the next step. So we prepared our way already for the application of task cards in GPS. So that weed control can be carried out fully autonomously in the future. Yeah.
And will that be the next step, or is there a step between?
I think that will be the next step, because there are already some tractors, but only the regulations on this moment are stopping it.
So then I will give you the phone number of Rob Alberts from the gemeente Amsterdam.
Okay.
And I think he's really keen on this innovation. So
thank you.
We make a phone call after the show with him.
Yeah, I will.
So I think that's all about the future. Eh? So you can see this as a prototype. Eh? I think there's only one at this moment, and we can try them everywhere in the Netherlands. And when it's like 80%, is that the level you wanna
At the moment, we recognize about 70-80% of dandelion and plantain.
Okay.
And 95% of the recognized weeds are exactly pierced. So, in the coming year, we will improve the fishing system by making running hours. So thanks to the artificial intelligence and also the deep learning system, it will become even better. With not that good weather circumstances, as cloudy, you saw it on the video, it will also work then. So.
Okay. Hey Frank, we had some stories about innovation, and the first time it doesn't work, and the second time it doesn't really work, and the third time it might work. Is this also in your company happening in the innovation process, or
Of course, you learn every day.
Yeah, you learn every day.
And if you also look to what we are doing, we already had a preliminary company, and we parked that in 2013. So we learned a lot of lessons, because it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we are still all friends. And that's why we started a new company. But that's it's a lengthy process.
Yeah. So that's part of innovation. I think that's also the main goal of sport innovation, is to stimulate innovation within sports. These are 3 brilliant companies to show. I think we're right. And now I have a smart. Yeah. Is there a question, Jacqueline?
Yeah, I have a question especially for Groot Groener and one for all participants.
Okay.
So what do you want?
First Groot Groener, and then later on we can go to the second question.
So I have a question from Herman IJzerman from the Knowledge Center for Sport and Physical Activity. And he is asking, local sport fields are turning into turf fields. So do you use the same method for agriculture, for instance, to upscale?
Yeah, it could be used also for agriculture, but we are developing this. Yeah.
And it started with sports. I think that's exactly the same story as you just told us about this bike in the Brand movie. It starts in the top, and then later on we can roll it out.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Now, well, thank you so much. Maybe we come back to you later.
That's good. Thank you.
Now my next guest. We know each other for a long time now, but hey, we saw your advertising movie about this. Is the third or the fourth generation artificial turf? How would you call this?
I would say this is the fourth generation. Of artificial turf. So we're very proud of that.
Yeah, so we made an impression of the first large-scale field in Eindhoven. So maybe it's possible to watch that movie before we go ahead.
Please do. De kunstgrasontwikkeling is op dit moment 50 jaar oud. Die is begonnen met polyamide. Vervolgens van polyamide zijn we begin jaren 80 naar polypropyleen gegaan. Dat was een stuk goedkoper. Met een beetje zand erbij zijn daar de eerste zandhockeyvelden en zandtennisvelden gekomen. Eind jaren 80 is men naar polyethyleen gegaan. De reden waarom men naar polyethyleen ging was omdat het goedkoper en gladder was. En nu zit er een eis bij, die heet duurzaamheid.
Het nadeel van kunstgras is natuurlijk dat het een keer eindig is en dat je vervolgens met allerlei restmateriaal zit. Dat gaat heel vaak weg, wordt vernietigd. Nou, en dat wil je natuurlijk op op een zo goed en zo duurzame manier ook weer hergebruiken. Dus dan gaat het er ook om, wat stop je erin?
De huidige kunstgrastypes bestaan uit polyethyleen vezel, een polypropyleen backing en een polyurethaan of latex coating. Dat zijn 3 verschillende materiaalfamilies, waarbij polyethyleen ook nog eens een keer een degeneratief materiaal is. Met andere woorden, dat slijt van zichzelf en dan kan je niet meer in dezelfde toepassing gebruiken. Wat wij hebben gedaan en echt 2 jaar serieus onderzocht hebben, is te kijken of we een polyester vezel, een polyester backing en een polyester coating kunnen gebruiken. En polyester is een materiaal wat je weer kan herbruiken in jezelfde toepassing. En daarmee sluiten we de loop. We kunnen dus nu aan het eind van de levensduur kunnen we het kunstgras oppakken, de infill eruit halen en vervolgens kunnen we het grinden en weer verwerken in kunstgras, in een kunstgrasvezel of een kunstgrasbacking.
Ik geloof niet dat er 1 oplossing is. Hè. Dit is een hele mooie oplossing. En waar ik vooral op wil wijzen is dat als je in de sport aan duurzaamheid wil werken, dan kan een club dat niet alleen. Dan heb je kennisinstellingen nodig, dan heb je het bedrijfsleven nodig. Dan moet je echt met elkaar samenwerken.
Het grootste compliment moet ik gewoon maken aan de Nederlandse overheid, de RWO, die gewoon creativiteit bevordert door aanbestedingen te zetten en te zeggen hier is een problematiek, bedrijfsleven, los het op. Moet OSF het compliment maken door altijd ervoor zorgen dat er verschillende consortia zijn die gezamenlijk de kennis bundelen om dit soort ontwikkelingen te doen. En uiteraard, wij zijn dankbaar, want wij mogen hier mee naar buiten treden, maar er zit natuurlijk ook een heel netwerk van bedrijven zit hierachter.
Wat ik belangrijk zou vinden dat in Dubai op die Expo zou worden laten zien, is de manier waarop en hoe je tot innovatie komt. Hoe kun je nou samen tot een goede oplossing komen? Nou, en de polyesteroplossing is er daar eentje van. Maar wie weet hebben er allerlei slimme koppen en gouden handjes nog veel meer ideeën en hoe we dat slim kunnen doen. Dus daar dagen ze ook altijd toe uit.
That's quite impressive. And so much information in only 3 minutes for us.
Yeah.
Hey, but I saw a lot of other fields, pitches at the hockey club over there at the facility. And to the sporter, what's the difference between this new grass-to-grass field and the traditional one?
I think the purpose is not to create a difference. The purpose is to have a very good playing surfaces, and the current playing surfaces are very good at this moment. And what we've tried to innovate for over the last couple of years is to find a polyester fiber that meets those expectations that the current sporters at this moment have. So the research that has been done by the group of companies behind this innovation, because like I said, DSM, a group of NEN consultants, a company called Dufour are behind this innovation.
And it's all in the smartest region of the world, Brainport area?
It's the Brainport area, it's the Brainport network, it's thanks to the OSF, it's thanks to Sports Innovator, but what we've been trying to do over the last 2 years is make sure that the polyester material was actually to the same level as the polyethylene material. And it took a serious amount of tries to make that happen, because polyester
it's the
is
same story again, and you have to try again.
You have to try. I remember the first time I was very proud to have a carpet coming home and saying to my son, well, this is something you can play hockey on, and he rubbed his hand, he said, Dad, never in this lifetime. And so we had to develop, and we had to develop, and we had to develop, and ultimately we come up with a solution both for the hockey sport and for the football sport, because those were our 2 focus sports. Because if you have football, you can do rugby. If you have hockey, you can do tennis. So that's what we focused on. And we had 2 challenges. One, make a serious yarn compatible for each sport. And second, making sure that there's a carpet, because the full carpet goes back into the system. It's like the Coca-Cola bottle.
Because there's a lot of things to do on that. Because a lot of people are claiming to be circular. But what I saw in your movie is that you make from an old pitch with the same ingredients, the same products, a new pitch.
Yeah.
Is that true?
The basic outline, the vision behind the development is the moment you can put value in plastic and not using as a waste material. That's the moment where you have a regeneration. So because we make this of polyester, this has value. This is our new raw material for the next pitch. So the 2030 goals that have just been reinforced in Glasgow, I believe, has to do with closing the loop. And we are the first material that can close the loop, because polyester can be upgraded to its original system again. And polyethylene at this moment can't and won't ever have the chance to become usable in the same application. So that's what we did, and therefore after polyamide, after polypropylene, after polyethylene, now comes polyester, and we hope that the world adopts this technology because it will be hopefully be the future material in artificial turf.
And what do you think, when it will be introduced on a large scale? Can it be for the same price, or is the price that we're paying now not the right price when we look at all the rubbish that's coming afterwards?
This is a very good question, Paul. Thank you very much. What you will see happening that sustainability is a policy choice. Polyester is a more expensive material than polyethylene. However, at the end of the life cycle, you save a lot of cost because you don't need to give it to landfill. In Europe, at this moment, you see different categories of speeds with respect to waste and waste recycling. In Holland, we're very fast. We use the polyethylene to downcycle towards other applications. But in England, there's still a lot of landfill happening. In Romania, it's being cut off and used in gardens. So there's a lot of different methods at this moment where countries use their waste material. We can stop it from being waste. Yeah. And if you look at the total cost of ownership of a artificial turf pitch, we will be very close to the same price, but you will pay a price more in the beginning. Yeah. And the governments and the cities and the communities who understand that philosophy, those will be our clients. And the governments that don't understand that will wait a couple of years, but ultimately everybody will follow.
I have a question. I think ambassadors could help setting the agenda.
Hey, the first ambassador in Australia is born now.
Yeah, that's one. Maybe, and I play field hockey myself. Yeah. So, is there a place where I can try it with my team?
Well, we've put the first pitch down now in Valkenswaard, and the setup is very easy. We've taken 2.5 years to develop this. We will build test pitches, small to medium-sized test pitches all over the globe. Because I know from experience, 25 years in the business, that if you start too big, too fast, that you can get some hiccups on the way. So we want to get hiccups out of the way in the first, into 2022, playing test pitches. And then end of 2022, we will probably go full-fledged on a European global scale with this technology. So playing, yes, but it will probably be a half-size, medium-sized pitch to start with.
Okay. Yeah, so when people are watching in Europe somewhere, they can contact you for a pitch in Portugal or somewhere else. Huh?
Yeah, that's the objective is to put a couple of 2,000, 3,000 square meter pitches in various locations to get a good understanding of the dynamic of the climate and the dynamic of the installation to make sure that it's perfect. I've been with a company and we've made a mistake earlier to start too soon, put that in my back pocket and understand that I need to take my time. This is a development for the next 20 years, so I don't need to rush.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, and that's, Merit was already telling something, but I also have a question. I think it's really interesting for our international viewers, because there is a sort of movement within the Dutch ecosystem on sports and sustainability. Eh? They have a sort of roadmap. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, just like I told you in the introduction, it's really helping for all people involved to get together and make the change. And maybe I'm not sure. We have a link to the roadmap, and we can put it in the chat. The people at home can see what the roadmap looks like.
And the knowledge center is in the lead, isn't it?
Sorry?
The knowledge center of sports.
Yes, they know all about it. Yes, yeah, but it really helps, and I think the examples over here, shows it.
Yeah. And how is it? Is these giant projects? Is there also a movement here, or maybe in Australia? What do you see, for instance, in swimming? Your sport, your favorite sport? Or?
Yeah, I mean, well, certainly in Australia, we're wanting to be at the forefront of everything related to sport, and I think the collaborations, the international collaborations, are very, very important to give each other that extra edge. So, I mean, Australia has a very vast environment, you know. I mean, sometimes you can drive for 3-4 hours and not get to the next town, you know. So it's very, very different in comparison to the Netherlands and Europe. So amongst that as well is the weather and the climate and the fact that so many areas are in horrific states of drought, and the impact that has on the rules and regulations between different states, but also different local governments. So
there is a difference between the states?
Yes, there is. Yes, absolutely. Okay. And so therefore that then restricts on, you know, certain partnerships and who they can tender for various different sporting innovations, obviously when it comes to pitches and fields. And so, you know, the limitation on how often they can water and how not. So all these things come into play, and I think, as we're obviously all talking about, the impact that innovation can have in relation to sustainability and the environment is something that, you know, has always been on the topic or the agenda for Australia. I mean, we set the benchmark with the Sydney Olympic Games. We were known as the green and clean games. Obviously, there was still a lot to improve and a lot to learn from, but it was setting the standards for future global events and sporting events. And I think what we then saw with Athens not long after was the fact that the Greek, you know, different government officials and also the Olympic Committee within Athens weren't able to fulfill those goals and promises. And so seeing the difference in such a short amount of time has obviously then led to more rules and regulations being put in place for future cities and for future huge games. And so I think Australia, that has been our topic of conversation for decades. And so I think the more that we can work together to create opportunities that will alleviate impacts on the environment, the better. And I know that Australia is open to that for sure.
Well, that's good to hear. And then first of all, these are also entrepreneurs, of course. What's the most progressive state in the Australia? So the first email, where can we send it to?
You're putting me in a very difficult situation. But I'm from New South Wales, and so let's just say, you know, New South Wales, Victoria is very close as well. I mean, but I'll get into trouble if I say anything like that. But every state in Australia has sport.
All of them.
Yeah.
Now have a look at Jacqueline. Maybe there are some questions in the chat. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I have one question. It's for all participants. And it's a question of Dion Bulkens from the Knowledge Center. And he's asking, what are the biggest challenges in making sport more sustainable in the Netherlands? How can innovation help? But I will extend it to Australia too, in this case. So what are the biggest challenges for making sport more sustainable? And how can innovation help? So very in general.
Now, maybe you were telling us about money.
Yeah, money. I
money
think
is
one
it a
of
big
the
problem?
issues, definitely.
And do you get help from the
We had great help from you guys. Mental support, financial support. And that helped. So that's why we were able to do the first innovative installation in Friesland.
Okay.
That's needed. It's wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So money is a thing.
Yes.
Maybe Merit, you created a system, the ecosystem on Sports Innovator. Money is one thing within that system.
Time is not a thing.
You
need time to know each other, to find each other. So take time and spend time together.
Okay.
I'm not sure if this translates well, but if I look at the sports infrastructure market in the Netherlands. I'm not sure if it translates well, but the law of the breaking advantage, remmende voorsprong. It's a Dutch law, but one of the elements that we have in that Dutch sports infrastructure is that we are good at defining stuff. So a lot of our sports infrastructure is being built based on the fact that we define what needs to go in, and if we define what needs to go in, we'll probably get something good coming out. But that actually breaks innovation.
Yeah.
Because if you steer on output and you ask, okay, this is the bar you need to adhere to, this is the bar you need to step up to, and then leave innovation and leave the companies and help with financing on how to do it, then you will see much more innovation coming in all the fields that are active. So a more output focus instead of an input focus would definitely help in getting more innovation into this marketplace.
We should talk about challenges instead of solutions.
No. If you make a pitch in artificial turf, or if you make a pitch at this moment in Holland, it's described. Every single layer is described. Every single layer is described. But that holds back innovations, because we can build pitches in 5, 6, 7 different ways. Each of them will meet the output criteria, but doesn't meet the input criteria. So a more output focus on what you need to achieve, but let go of how you need to achieve it. That's my advice.
Okay. Hey, and then Arnoud, the standard, the new standard, the 4th generation we were talking about.
Yeah.
How long do you think it will take it, or all, of course, of innovation rules like 7 years or 10 years or 3 years? Being for 25 years now in artificial turf, what do you expect?
There's a 100 million square meter market in sports infrastructure on a global scale. Adaptation goes by policy, because we need to convince people to pay a bit more in the beginning to save at the end. And that's basically policy driven. And if you would have asked me, this innovation 10 years ago wouldn't have had a chance. And now there's a full focus on sustainability. Everybody in the world, or at least, large part of the world is now focused on sustainability. And the question is, to what extent are communities and governments ready to put their money where their mouth is? And if they're able to do so, this innovation actually solves a major issue. It doesn't solve the current pitches, but it solves the pitches of the future. If that happens, I hope to get 10-15% market share in the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
But let's see and wait how that happens. There's local competitions, there's artificial turf manufacturers that can adopt this technology. We don't plan to do this by ourselves. So those starts with telling the story, and that's why we're here today. It starts with the fact that sustainability has become a requirement in artificial turf.
Yeah.
And the moment governments accept that, they will accept this technology and the consequences.
Okay. I think we have a lot of job to do when we come back.
Yeah, for sure.
But we will go to every mayor in every city.
My wife's not happy.
Okay. We're willing to help you. So see you back in the Netherlands. Yeah, and then Frank, Mr. Verschoor. Yes. Last but definitely not least, we saw your advertiser about Hydroloop.
Yes.
But first of all, I think it was like 1.5, 2 years ago that there happened something in Las Vegas with your beautiful company.
Yeah, because you talk about international recognition. And at the Consumer Electronics Summit in Las Vegas 2020, we basically won all awards that were available. Best sustainable product, best startup, best of innovation, and last but not least, best of the best. And that was at an event with 180,000 visitors, 4,000 exhibitors, and 20,000 new product innovations. And that turned around because we were already involved in bringing this solution to market for many, many years. And then from that moment onwards, it changed from push to pull, and we get demand from everywhere.
So it was a big breakthrough for Hydroloop?
Yeah, it changed our lives.
It changed your life.
It's exciting now, building a company, having demand from everywhere. And also in Australia, because we think New South Wales, Sydney is the most innovative, because they ordered already the first container from us.
Wow, that's good news. That's good news.
Sydney Water, so it's also the first water utility companies that orders our stuff.
Oh, wow,
yeah.
wow.
Exciting.
Hey, and Frank, we made a beautiful movie last month in Friesland.
Yeah.
It's in the northern part of the city. Maybe we can have a watch at that movie, a look at that movie. And then later on we talk about this innovation within sports, because we made it from regular
sports.
Housing to sports.
Yeah, definitely.
Dit is een waterrecyclingssysteem. Wat we hiermee doen, is dat we het douchewater opvangen van de spelers van O&T, de voetbalclub, En dat douchewater wordt gereinigd in deze systemen. En dan wordt dat douchewater een tweede keer gebruikt voor het spoelen van de toiletten.
Wij hebben binnen onze club 63 douches in 10 kleedkamers. Die dan ook nog eens keer zaterdag zo'n 4-5 keer gebruikt worden. Dus je kunt je voorstellen dat daar heel veel water doorheen gaat. Alle water van al die 63 douches wordt opgevangen. Dat gaat allemaal naar die 6 units toe.
Als die vol is, dan zet hij de klep dicht. Dan stroomt het door naar de volgende. En zo vullen ze zich allemaal. En zo kunnen we dus dat douchewater opvangen. Dat wordt dan gereinigd. Dat wordt dan vervolgens, als het gereinigd is, hier opgeslagen. En dan gaat het gebouw in voor de toiletspoeling.
Door de hele week heen komen hier ongeveer 3000 bezoekers op het sportpark. En als ze in de kantine geweest zijn, dan wordt ook wel wat sanitair wordt gebruikt. Dus wij verbruiken heel veel water voor al die sanitaire ruimtes die wij hebben. Dus een besparing op die manier. En wij voegen ook minder water toe aan de riolen, om het zo maar eens te zeggen.
Elk gebouw heeft eigenlijk zijn eigen waterbron. En dat is het licht verontreinigde grijs water. Door die waterbron te gaan gebruiken die al in het gebouw zit en dat op te vangen en te reinigen en dat gerecyclede water te gebruiken voor die toepassingen waar je geen drinkwater voor nodig hebt, op die manier kun je dus dat waterprobleem oplossen.
Water is niet duur, dus het is wel een vrij dure oplossing om dit toe te passen op je stadion. Alleen er is nog geen stadion die dit heeft. En we willen wel graag onderscheidend zijn, eigenlijk net als ONT. We gaan een nieuw stadion bouwen. Dat doe je niet voor 10 jaar, maar voor de komende 40 jaar. Nou, dan kan je maar 1 keer goed keuzes maken. Dus dan moet je ook alles op een rij hebben van wat zijn nou de mogelijkheden. Wie biedt dat aan en hoe kunnen we dat nu samen integreren. Je kan het hele stadion hiermee uitvoeren. Je kan ook zeggen we gaan wat kleiner beginnen. Nou, dat is iets wat we de komende tijd verder gaan verkennen met elkaar. Nou, wat is er dan mooier om een voorbeeld te zijn voor een club als een Cambuur. We willen graag onze kennis daarin delen.
Het is onze visie dat over 15 jaar geen gebouw meer gebouwd wordt, of geen woonhuis meer gebouwd wordt, waarin niet decentraal dat water opgevangen wordt, gereinigd wordt en nog een keer gebruikt wordt.
So talking about the vision and talking about upscaling, because I saw the Dutch Premier Club Cambuur also is interested in your innovation.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
No, but yeah, look at it, because in sport people exercise, you sweat. You get dirty, and there is a lot of shower water. And then after that they go to the bar, they have some beer, they have to go to the toilet. So there is also a lot of toilet flushing.
But there is one major problem, I think. Water in the Netherlands is so cheap.
Yeah.
Is it a problem for your company? Is it?
Well, a problem is a forbidden word in our company. We only talk challenges.
Okay. Well, tell me about this challenge.
This challenge. So in the Netherlands, water is extremely cheap. And we also have to deal with the fact that water in the Netherlands, so the dealing with the wastewater, because that's the other side of the cycle, is done on a flat cost rate by another company. In 80% of the world, it's the same company that provides the water that also charges for the actual production of wastewater. And if you go, for example, to other countries like Denmark, in the Netherlands you pay 1.30 for a cubic meter of water. In Denmark it's 2 euros per cubic meter, but it's 8 euros for dealing with the wastewater. So there you.
So it's not fair priced yet.
It's not fair priced yet, and also if you go to the rest of the world, to America, there are 2,700 water utility companies over there. So you see so many differences, and that's what we now learn from all over the world. And we find the sweet spots where there is low-hanging fruit, but the payback time is the shortest at the moment. Yeah. But yeah, we also in California, only the water price is 58% higher over the last 5 years compared. So there is also a lot of change going on.
It's good for your business, good for the environment.
Yeah, for the environment.
But it's a bit the same story as Arno told us about pricing, because it's not fair priced yet because the costs of the waste is not included in the price.
And he also made another fair statement about these regulators and all this kind of procedures, and that should be much more output driven. Okay. So also for Australia, we first thought this is not an interesting country because they have a grey water standard and we don't fit to it. And then Sydney Water basically brought us into contact with the right persons and said, yeah, but the standards that we now currently activate, they are not fit for purpose. So then we got an advisory note from the Ministry of Health of New South Wales, and they basically said, yeah, but you are classified as another system, and we will allow it.
Oh, that's cool.
And this is the kind of processes we have to go throughout all the world.
So that's interesting. But now I want to check in at Jessica, because in this region here in the Gulf,
of course,
it must be a giant problem to have like the water. I don't know what the prices are and how does it work.
Yes,
here,
it can be quite expensive, and again, from different region or different state, it varies as well. But I think Sydney Water is certainly leading the way. So that collaboration and that business partnership says quite a lot. And referring to the Sydney Olympics again, to this day, Sydney Olympic Park still has one of Australia's most successful recycling and water, storage and recycling systems. So again, that says a lot about where we have come and where we're going, and those international partnerships and collaborations is really, really important. But I know we're talking so much about the economic model, but I think there also needs to be a focus on the social model as well. And the reason for that is, when you want everyone to be involved, how do you do that? You do that by connecting with them emotionally and letting them know that this is the right thing to do. And once people feel as though they're part of the process and part of, of that transition in society, then we're going to start to see the innovations come to fruition on an international level. So I think, of course, the economic side and the financial side is imperative, but so too is social sustainability and making sure that everybody feels as though they have a role to play and that they have a responsibility. And certainly, when you were talking about the question that came, from the chat, for me as a former athlete, but also as an individual and as a mother and as a member of society, how can I positively contribute to the sporting community? And that's through asking questions around who the sponsorships are, who the partnerships are, what fibres and fabrics are used in uniforms. It's a lot of questions that I said I didn't ask when I was competing because it wasn't part of the societal conversations that we're having. And so as we look forward, and then from that Olympic and Paralympic standpoint toward Paris 2024 and the agreements and the promises and the goals that they're making as a responsible project, I think if we can mirror all of that together, then that path forward will transpire. It may take 5, 10, 15 years, but time is the important component here. We've seen the Green Games in 2000, but what have we learnt from that, and what have we been able to implement to ensure that we can continue moving forward?
Yeah. So Paris 24, the Olympic Park. I think that might be a spot on the horizon.
It's not a real Olympics if our systems are not in.
That's a really good one. On sustainability, it's a good one.
It's sustainability. There are 10,000 sporters. They take the showers.
Yeah.
So they can make a difference to do this, and it's easy to implement.
Exactly what you were telling, showing the world what's possible, and then. But are you still in contact with young athletes now, who now might be in the Olympic team coming years?
Yeah,
so can you bring your message to them and say?
Yeah, absolutely. So I still work a lot with the Australian Paralympic Committee and the Australian Institute of Sport, and these are conversations that they've been happening for a long time. But I think the fact that athletes are being asked to contribute says a lot, and Paris 2024, they have put those goals and those promises about 100%, sustainability. So yes, you need to be knocking on their door and saying, this is an innovation and this is something that we need to be working toward because it makes sense and it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to the innovation because we saw this beautiful football club in the northern part of the Netherlands, but it sounds like it's such a small club and so much innovation. Isn't it too much to implement this in every amateur sports club, or is it really easy to install? How does it work?
Yeah, there is some preparation in plumbing work, and we need to have access to be able to collect the water from the Bravo shower, and we need to have new pipes to distribute from the Hyderloop. Yeah. And that takes some kind of preparation. But if there is a structural refurbishment, you did see the technical room that already was existing, then it is relatively easy to implement. One of the biggest hiccups we had over there was the Wi-Fi connection.
Oh yeah.
And Wi-Fi, then you think that's easy, everybody now is connected, and with 5G, it will be, I think, not an issue at all, anywhere. But here it took some energy to get the Wi-Fi connected and get that in place. Yeah. So that's our learning lesson.
That's learning in the process to... Hey, and is it also possible that you can use it in other industries? Is there a focus yet on like other...
No, so most of our focus today is on new built homes. Okay. We now also start to deliver the first implementations in hotels. So there will be a big hotel in Brussels. We will do a hotel in Portugal shortly, where we collect the water from 90 rooms, and then it will be treated, and then it will be used for flushing the toilets and some extra irrigation. So that's why I think in the Olympic Park it's so easy to implement it.
But how did they find you? Is it by the CES and all the rumor?
No, it's a CES, but yeah, we also are part of.
And maybe for the viewers here at home, the CES is this trade show in Las Vegas we were talking about.
Just explained, yes. But yeah, we are also part of a documentary in Netflix, Brave Blue World.
Oh.
And yeah, we get demand from that still every day. That started, I think, 15 months ago. And we still get inbound requests. And we get inbound requests from the most strange parts in the world. And yeah, because of that, we were able to raise financing. We were able to grow the team. We have a joint venture here in the Emirates. We have set up a US office. And we have signed up over 120 partners in the last 12 months in 50 different countries.
Wow.
So that's exciting.
So talking about upscaling, we're talking about learning. It's the sports innovator that will help the entrepreneurs to come to speed and innovation.
Yeah.
But is there also peer learning between Groot Groener, Weedaway and Hyperloop? So I think you're just one phase behind them. So it might be an idea to come back in Holland and to learn from each other, isn't it?
Actually, to be saying something about this, just cooperation on this occasion. I was just discussing the problems with hockey and FIH and water consumption, and the desire of FIH to reduce water. And I think behind us is a technology which allows water to be gained, and the technology that Frank has is already a serious possibility to look at sports from a win-win perspective. And one of our other elements in RSI, since we do broader than just artificial turf, is the cooperation, or looking at a cooperation between grass grow or UVC lighting, which destroys the fungus, and their machine in combination is also perhaps a possibility that comes out of this meeting and this setup. So I'm already a happy man on a cooperation level.
Yeah, well, that might be the case, but I'm thrilled about these innovation, but I'm not sure if they're thrilled at home as well, or maybe here in the studio. Jacqueline?
Yeah, well, I have two questions. One is especially for Arnoud. It's from Michael Engelblik from TIGA Europe, and he asks, is it a water pitch? And if so, do you still have to water the pitch to play hockey?
Yeah, good question. When we set out to develop 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago, based on the RVO tender, we set two goals. And the goals are in line with what FIFA wants and what FIH wants. And FIH wants to have a dry pitch. And FIFA is trying to get away from, or at least there's a general movement in Europe to go away from infill systems, so a non-infill system. And both have the underlying sliding issue. So where we are now is that we can replicate existing pitches to a good extent, to a perfect extent. The next coming years, we'll try to meet the higher goals, which is the dry turf. And I think what I just said about Frank and what I just said about this technology behind us, where we can take water out of the sky, are elements to come to a better solution in the years to come. So we're not there yet, but we're working on it.
Okay, I think that's the answer to the question of this guy or girl, I'm not sure, but there's another question left.
There was another question, is a kind of a next step question. The question was from Matthijs Rosman from Revel X, and he asked, but we twisted a bit, what role do you see for esports? And we think gaming, it's about gaming, to make sports more sustainable in the future. And this question has been answered a bit in the chat already by an expert of the Knowledge Center, but it's still a question for the people here. But the answer in the chat was there's already a serious game about sustainability for instance, for municipalities to learn more about sustainability and how you can apply it in sports in the Netherlands.
Oh, that's nice.
But still the question is, what do you think about the trend of gaming, and what does that mean for the topic of sustainability in sports?
Well, maybe I can ask it to Merit. I'm not sure.
Yes. What I think, it's all about awareness. And if esports and gaming is one of the parts, to create the awareness we were talking about. The answer in the chat, I think that's another good example we all should know. I think that's my question. How can we share all those examples? How to reach other people to inspire? This is great, and the World Expo is helping. This environment is sustainable. It's all made of reused material and will be reused afterwards again. We have to tell those stories again and again and again. I think.
And I think digitalization is really important for environmental. We saw it in the lockdown, of course, to be environmental friendly. We are only with 2 persons. The rest is all behind the stream and can stay at home. So we're looking for in what kind of way can we tell our story, this story, without flying all over the world and still telling your story. Because you're living here, you're living in the Netherlands. How much do you travel for your work?
This is the second time that I traveled out of Europe in 1.5 years. And we did it all virtually.
Yeah.
So all the conversations, I had days that I started in Japan and ended in Hawaii. So travel the world in one day, and that brought.
But did it harm your business?
No, because it gave us a lot. It saved us a lot of time in traveling, and of course now we need, because we are now in the process of converting and getting to the next stage. So it's good that you still can look people in the eyes and shake hands. But yeah, I think it has been a very productive year for us. I recruited a team of 4 in the US, and I never shook hands with them.
All by Skype or?
All by Teams and Zoom, and they finally were able to come over throughout summer. So that was good, and then you bond further. But yeah, with all this mixture and you leveraging social media to share successes, it's amazing how many people respond to it. So
and being on Netflix.
Being on Netflix definitely helped. We had a CBS interview, also that was done virtually. We now will come out with a new video shortly because we're getting into a crowdfunding campaign, so shortly you can all invest in our company. But now we get quotes from Sydney, from South Africa, from the US, it's all video interviews.
So that's really nice.
So
really
leverage
nice,
technology. Also with a partner, I cannot manage. With the small team we have here, with now 28 people, we cannot manage 120 partners if you have to do all by phone and email. So we have developed a partner platform, a digital partner platform.
So there's digital is helping to make it better,
with
easier.
videos, with everything else. And everything we do now is about scalability. And one of the next challenges we have is production and distribution, because this logistic nightmare is awful. And it's our intent that today
because of the rising prices, or
the rising prices, but also the time.
Okay.
We had the first container to Los Angeles, to Phoenix, Arizona. It was waiting 3.5 weeks in front of Los Angeles before it could get unloaded.
So.
A year ago, the same container costed €2,200. The next one going out this Friday for €10,900.
Wow.
So we need to fix this. We want to bring production also as close as possible to market. So before year end next year, we want to have a production line here in the territory. We want to have a production line in the US, and then be able to replicate it to South Africa, to Australia. So that's one of the next challenges.
So then there's also a question left for Job, and I think this question is for everybody. But how do you see the future? What will happen in 5 years from now? Where will you be with your innovation? Can you tell me a little bit about your vision on that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of work to do. As I told, at this moment we recognize 2 most common weeds in our region. But our goal is to add several of types to the machine. So I'm curious, also for the people at home on LinkedIn, what are the 3 most common weeds in your area? So maybe we can ask that question by the chat.
The most common weeds in the area?
Yeah, the 3 most common weeds. So we can use that as input for the further
deep
developing,
learning.
Deep learning our machine. So I'm curious.
We'll see what's coming.
We see what's coming. Yeah, and we expect that the vision system of the Weedaway can also be valuable to retrieve other data. You can think of scanning the grass color to determine if organic fertilization is needed. So that are some things.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, and then of course Jessica, because in your role and your role within society, I know you were rewarded by the Australian government with a really nice. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? Because we Dutch, we do not know how.
Yes, so thank you. I was awarded the Order of Australia Medal, which is one of Australia's most highest honours, and it was passed down from the Queen, so it's quite an achievement, and that was for my commitment to sport and the community. And so for me, the future is about facilitating and providing a safe and trusted platform for these discussions to continue. And like I said, for me, it's really making sure that social model is pushed forward. And I think that, sport has the opportunity to reflect where we are as a global community and the collective responsibility that we all have in every stage of the innovative process. And so, don't underestimate that importance within each individual company, because when people feel that they're part of something bigger, then it's more likely to evolve. And I think we're seeing that now. Sustainability is the future. That's never going to change.
It's also within equality, inclusivity.
Exactly.
All the new
so that's social,
pillars under sports right now.
Accessibility, women in sport, disability, all of those things have to be part of the conversation as well.
You're really fighting for that, eh?
I am.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that. Hey, Merit, the role of Sports Innovator, I think this program, Sports Innovator 1.0, I think ends this summer. New ministers coming up.
Yes.
The Olympics of Los Angeles 2028 we're watching too. It's an outlook, sorry. What do you think what will happen with Sports Innovate, and where will the focus be in the coming years?
Well, the Olympic Games in Los Angeles will be the most innovative Olympic Games ever. So I think we hardly can imagine what they will look like. And with all the creativity we've heard today, and in the audience as well, imagine different types of games or equipment or interaction within the fans and the athletes. So our focus will be on scouting the trends, and of course, what we do on daily basis is connecting all the different perspectives. We will continue with that, and we will rise sky high with all the innovations we hear, and we will tell it.
So the next World Expo is in Tokyo. So maybe in 4 years from now, we'll see. But I just saw that there's a question left in the chat or somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know if there are also questions here in the audience, but I have a question here.
Raise your hand if there is a question, but we'll see. There's one.
Okay,
so first we go to this question and later on to your.
Yeah. Tim Mullins from Mullins Sport and Health and Innovation. He says these inspirational examples are all about products, great products, however. But in which way are you thinking about making your business model circular? Thinking about logistics, distribution, for instance?
Really interesting question, because it's also a part of the solution. Maybe Arnoud, first of all, Arnoud can say something about it?
Yeah, one of the things we're working on with a big bank in the Netherlands is to see whether we can remain to be the owner of the artificial turf, since it is a raw material for the first time, and to then work not with a buying concept, but with a ownership-driven pay-per-use concept. So, and that way we still own the pitch, have the responsibility to take it back and recycle it or reuse it in the most efficient way. So the business model behind it, and I know a couple of communities are also interested in this line of thinking, is something we're working with a big bank who has circularity in its values.
Hey, but do they ask for that also in a bid? From how is your supply chain?
Yeah, for sure,
organized?
for sure. I mean, we're working on the concept, and the concept is what we call a product as a service. It's software as a service, product as a service, and that concept.
So you stay the owner of...
We stay owner of the pitch, and it's completely different that we are dealing at this moment, because now there is a public tender and the cheapest gets it, and so on and so forth, with relatively little amount of services.
So it could be a breakthrough in...
It's you can do this because the technology allows you to own it.
Yeah.
Because it's raw material.
Yeah.
And
it's raw material. Yeah.
And that's what we try to exploit also from a financial level, overcoming probably the hurdle of the extra investment that people need to do. So that's the that's the thinking behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's one question here in the studio, and I saw shocking. Yeah, he's over there.
Your name and your organization, please.
Yeah, hi, my name is Harry Amos. I work for a consultancy here, a tech consultancy here in the UAE called Kestrel. This is a question for Frank and Hydroloop, actually. Of course, in a water-saving utopia, every sporting facility, private household business has a Hydroloop fitted. And of course, that means, in theory, we're all using less water. The private and public water companies on the other side of the fence are still there at the end of the day to sell water, although they are, of course, boasting more greener strategies and water-saving strategies. Have you found them to be a friend or foe in these conversations?
Both. There are still water utility companies thinking the old way, and basically their business model is sell as much water as possible. But like, for example, this example with Sydney Water, and that's also, I think, complies with what Arnaud just said. They see that they will not be able to provide sufficient water. They already had months that they need to turn back the supply. And today they have a population of 5.4 million people, and expect that this will grow to 8 to 9 million in the next 20 years. So they also considering different business models. So they're also considering to provide a product like Hydroloop. I don't say it will be Hydroloop, but of course we will take care that it will be the best product. But a product like Hydroloop as a service. Because then the people can keep on having their comfort of living, but they need 40% less water. And that's the kind of things that they are now investigating. Okay. But there are also old-fashioned kind of water utility companies. But also in the Netherlands, the biggest water utility company, we have tried to speak to these guys for many, many years. And 3-4 years ago, they still thought that we were nutballs. But last year, they were driving around, please start showers shorter because we cannot supply sufficient water. That CEO now already had several conversations with our CEO. So the world is going to change. But there is a history, there is a legacy.
But again, there's a change coming up in how to finance, who will be the owner, what to do with waste. So it's again the same story as we saw on
but the good thing is our technology works. So you said the future is coming. Now the future is now. Yeah. But now it's the business models that needs to
change, to speed up.
Change and redraft.
Hey, I think the time is almost over with the connection to LinkedIn, but there's one question left, and I think that will be the last question of this live show.
Yes,
and later on, of course, we can go ahead here at the studio, but then the connection will be gone.
I think so too, and it's from the nice gentleman here behind me. So please know your name and your organization.
Hi, my name is Edo van der Akker. I work for Sportbiz, and it's great to see how these innovations and ideas comes up. I'm just wondering, if you look back at your research development trajectory for the couple of years, could you inform us or let us know the do's and the don'ts? In other words, if you would do this research development again, what would you advise us to do or to don't?
Well, who shall we ask? Arnaud, it's you again.
Yeah, fine. Probably the do's and the don'ts for us as a development consortium, because we work with a couple of companies, is to get your agenda straight from the start and have the same type of interests, and probably also have the same type of checks and balances within the group itself. So if the agenda is the same and the interests are the same, and your level of power is relatively the same, then you'll go for a success. If there's disbalance in those elements, then it's more difficult to work together.
So, well, thank you for the answer. I hope it will do. Yeah, I think we come to the end of this show, this live show, and it's really nice to have you all here in the studio here in Dubai Expo. And of course, thanks to everyone here on the table, and of course, really, Jessica, thank you so much for coming here. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed the show, and if anyone here or maybe behind the stream somewhere in the world or in the Netherlands or whatever where needs more information about these companies or about these innovations, the information will be at sportsinnovator.nl, but also at the LinkedIn page of Sports Innovator, and I think there will be also information at dutchdubai.com. So for now, thank you so much for being here and being at the stream in somewhere behind the LinkedIn, and thank you so much again. Hope to see you later.